Krista. Thank you so much for coming. I am Krista. Corey. I am Corey.
Thank you so much.
Hi, ladies. Nice to see you again. I am Corey. Thank you. I am Corey. Thank you. I am Corey. Thank you for
Emily? Thank you. What do we do with this? Oh, we all have microphones. Jason, please.
This is the wrong one. This is the wrong version. We had two on there. This is the okay. Because there was two on there. Okay. That's fine.
Good afternoon. I'd like to take a minute to thank our judges and everyone here for taking time to be with us today. Now, Confucius once said, "The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions." So we want this to be a conversation. We welcome your questions because we both want the same things, which is the best plan for CTF moving forward. Now, as new technologies such as the internet, e-commerce, mobile platforms, and virtual networks take the stage, we worry about how we are going to deal with this as a company. But don't worry, people thought the same thing when televisions came into existence. But unlike televisions, which brought families together to watch shows such as 西游记, modern technology appears to be pushing people apart. But humans need relationships. That's why Facebook, with over 1 billion users, or Renren, with over 200 million users, are so popular. So when we think about social media, think about how it represents relationships. Companies constantly talk about how they want relationships with their customers. But often, the only relationship they truly want is, we sell, you buy. Good companies want more. They recognize that a relationship is a two-way street. It needs to be 友情. So you've asked us to come here today to help you with new ideas. But man has been selling to each other for thousands of years, and every new idea is just an old idea with a new package. So what we want to talk about today is 关系, relationships, and how we can make it so that when our customers come to us, whether it's physically or online, we give them a feeling of 宾至如归, being at home. So with me today is Jason Sigmund, Krista Singh, Corey Levinson, and I am Emily Zhao, and we are Team TST1.
Now, when you walk out of the room today, we want you to walk away with three things. First, a clear understanding of our recommended strategy, why we've chosen this strategy, and how we plan to implement it. Now, in order to achieve these goals, we've compiled an agenda. First, we'll talk about the current situation and why we're here in front of you today. We've also performed an analysis, and we'll discuss that. Then we'll get into our chosen strategy, and again, why we've chosen it. Then we'll consider some additional things, such as our budget, our timeline, and some risk and mitigations with our strategy.
Now, when looking at the Chinese retail jewelry market, you're faced with three key issues: changing channel dynamics, shifting needs of customers, and new competitors entering the market, which all relate to one key question: how can CTF continue to be the number one mass luxury retail jeweler in mainland China? Now, it's pretty commonly reported these days that mainland China is experiencing both a rising population and increased domestic spending. But it's not quite as well reported as how mainland Chinese citizens, on average, still own 1/5 or 1/10 the amount of jewelry as their Hong Kong and American counterparts, respectively. Now, if you look at this graph of the market segmentation of the jewelry market in mainland China and Hong Kong, you'll see that mass luxury is still the biggest segment. So we really think this is an opportunity for CTF going forward because this is the specialty. Now, also, one of the key areas of growth right now is these Tier 3 and Tier 4 cities. These consumers, on average, are spending 27% of their income online. However, as you'll still see here, only 7% of this money is going to jewelry. So we really think this is an opportunity going forward for future growth.
Now, when consumers perceive CTF, they perceive them based off of two things: price and quality. From a price standpoint, CTF is well known for being a mass luxury retail jeweler. And from a quality standpoint, they're known throughout the industry for upholding the highest quality for mass luxury jewelers as well.
When we look at physical jewelry stores in China right now, we can see that they're actually experiencing declining growth. And that's because this growth is going more and more towards e-commerce. So, we performed a channel analysis. We looked at traditional forms of communication, which are important but declining. So we're going to focus more on things like social media. Social media has a growing usage, but it's known for pushing information and not action, and that is something that we want to change. We also looked at e-commerce, which we have to recognize is fastly becoming the second traditional platform for sales. And of course, we looked at word of mouth. Word of mouth is the most effective when it comes to promoting customer loyalty. So that is the goal of all customer loyalty programs. When we break down social media trends, we can see that things like microblogging are especially effective because of high user engagement. And this provides a good sales opportunity because we can take this engagement and transform it into action by utilizing things such as mobile platforms. People are moving more and more away from Weibo and towards WeChat. So we can use things like QR codes and mobile media in order to drive our sales.
So let's take a look at our average customer and a day in their daily life. We have a happily married couple approaching their 25th wedding anniversary. Unfortunately, the husband, Wang Keyu, has forgot that his wedding anniversary is just around the corner. Now imagine his wife's face when he forgets their 25th wedding anniversary. Fortunately enough for him, CTF has already reminded him of the date, and not only that his anniversary is approaching, but also an appropriate gift to get his lovely and now happy wife, what can not only result in sales generation, but also enhance the brand image of CTF and possibly increase potential lifelong customers for the future.
Yeah, can I kind of interrupt for a second? You know, you're getting into the weeds here. I'd be curious to know. You said earlier the high end, the mass, and the low end consumers. What segment do you have us going for? I mean, I'm trying to conceptualize where the presentation is moving towards. What customer segment am I supposed to be focused on?
Mass, just our average customer. So when you look at right now, we're about to get into utilizing data analytics, so understanding our customers and where they're at. So we're looking at our current customers, people in like who apply to your market segment. So we're focusing on the mass luxury market segment that you're already in, and the wedding. Specifically in mainland China jewelry market, weddings make up 70% of the market segment, so that's what we're targeting at the current point in our presentation. So what brings us to our next point of data analytics. What is the goal of data analytics? We want to gain a deeper understanding of our customers, but as a company, we want to go beyond that and not just understanding the customers and the changing trends and their consumer buying patterns, but we want to create a relationship with them. We don't just want their information to utilize. We want them to give us their information so we can truly become Igaja, one big family.
Now, just like on Tuesday, you welcomed us into your family by presenting us with Taobao. We feel like this is the same concept that has to be transmitted to your customers. As the new Citi-branded credit card comes into effect, and you're already using data from Analytics, the world's biggest data provider, it's really key that customers are not worried what their data is being used for. Instead, it's important to, as Krista mentioned, have an opportunity to remind a customer of an upcoming anniversary, even deliver that best experience when a grandfather brings in his granddaughter for that first jewelry purchase. All of this is what the power of data analytics can accomplish for CTF. Now, looking ahead, so far we've established that China's jewelry market is constantly changing. Additionally, the way customers access information is changing, and it's key that CTF continues to innovate in order to maintain its market leadership position.
Now, when we look at what success looks like for CTF, we want to maintain.
Excuse me, I have a question about how we can do the customer profiling. Are you aware of the fact that there is a personal personal Privacy Act in Hong Kong? We can only get very limited information about the customers. So without that profiling information, how can we do the data analytics?
Well, the key is that we already have a partnership with Analytics, one of the top data mining companies based out of Berlin, working with us. So we have the information already, or at least the information that we're allowed to get. It's a matter of integrating that into our company and utilizing the information that we already have to create those long-lasting relationships.
Yeah, my question is, we don't know who the customer are. We just know that the customer buy from us. We don't know the age, sex, education level, and other things. So what can we get from your analysis?
I think one of the main things that we really want to incorporate, knowing those laws, is the fact that if we build ourselves as this brand that you want to provide your data to. Obviously, if I ask anyone here, would you give your personal information to anyone you don't trust? No, of course not. But the fact of the matter is CTF needs to become a household name that you trust and you know, and you don't have a problem giving anyone your name, your sex, your sex, your gender, things like that. Of course, if it's illegal for us to ask for that, they can still provide it if they're trusting of us. So that's our main goal here, that we want to build ourselves into a household brand that we're trusted by.
So our vision for success is to maintain our position as market leader. We want to maintain our 40% annual growth and margins at 30%, but also develop enhanced customer profiles that allow us to truly establish a relationship with our customers. So like a diamond, CTF is unique in every way. That's why we've created the Chow Tai Fook Diamond strategy, focusing on 5 main areas. Customer management systems.
Excuse me, can you go back to the current environment page? You have mentioned about like 3 challenges that we are facing in the market. Can you summarize what exactly the findings that you have in that 3 area?
Yeah, so along these lines, changing channel dynamics mostly relates to communication channels and how, as Emily mentioned, the way customers are getting information is changing. And then with shifting needs in customers, obviously in the past there was a lot of big jewelry purchases, but as CTF expands into these new Tier 3 and Tier 4 markets, it's going to be predominant the lower end of mass luxury. And so to capture that market is going to be key. And finally, intensifying competitors. It's seeing that CTF's success is going to attract other competition. For example, there's a new jewelry company that's opening in the CCTV building in Beijing. Obviously, that's a very well-frequented building, and it's something you have to be aware of going forward, is how do you continue to have the tradition of success that CTF has enjoyed while still responding to new changes. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Okay, so focusing on these 5 main strategies, you already have a great grasp of the situation, and the key is to come up with a tactical strategy of how to actually implement this and drive growth through these customer relationships that we are going to develop.
So let's talk about expanding our presence online. Right now, we already have this campaign, the perfect one. But if we focus solely on the bride, we are missing a lot of peripheral customers that we could also be capitalizing on. What about her bridesmaids, her family, her friends, this entire wedding experience? Why are we stepping in and stepping out when we can capitalize on all of it? And how? Well, we can move the entire experience online. Now, weddings in China are a big deal. They're huge. They're an event. And it's not just the ceremony anymore. Even proposals, people are throwing parties for them. They're making it a big deal. So why don't we jump on that? Someone videotapes a proposal, put it on our website. Every year we host a video contest and we pick one winner and pay for their wedding. When you're planning the wedding, the guides, the RSVP system, the registry platform, all of it available and accessible on our website, driving this online traffic. And of course, post-wedding. We have a photo album. It's featured on our site so that not only can friends and family access it, everyone around the world familiar with our brand can view this beautiful photo album, beautiful wedding. And in this way, we are with our customers, not just handing them jewelry and then stepping back out. We're with them from the proposal to the honeymoon and beyond. And we can give them this unforgettable love journey that we've already promised them in the current campaign and extend even farther beyond that.
Now, another one of the pieces of our diamond strategy is the tactic of e-commerce. Now, in order to have a successful e-commerce strategy, we need to incorporate 2 things. For one, we obviously need to expand our user base, but at the same time, we need to take this new user base and actually bring it back home to drive our same-store sales growth. So I'm going to start and ask you guys a question. How many of you of Chinese descent either have relatives, family, friends, friends of relatives who are actually living abroad right now and not in China? Okay, so
Excuse me. Yeah,
Yeah.
go back to the last page. I'm very interesting. Yeah, one more. I'm very interesting to ask, ceremony. You give us an idea of gift registry platform, how to do this. Because as I understand that Chinese people are very ashamed to ask gift, whenever they get married, how we can break through, this kind of tradition, how to do it, make them happy to tell, people what they like.
we actually, as I'm about to talk about, we actually have a huge market abroad that we haven't actually tapped into yet. So as we know, following my question, as we know, there's already 100 million, possibly more, native Chinese people living abroad. And that's a huge growth market for us to expand to into e-commerce. And they still have this attention and in their hearts, this feeling of their home. They still want to feel like they're at home. So in order to avoid the asking for gifts, what we know is that these people not only abroad want to showcase their success and say, hey, look, I've made it, I'm living abroad. But at the same time, they want to keep their friends, family in their hearts and in their minds and say, here's a gift, oh, your son is born, oh, you're getting married soon. This is how we're going to give you a gift. And within this, we actually have two options to expand this e-commerce strategy. For one, if you're living abroad and you want to send a gift back home, what you can do is for a small fee, our already strong logistics team will go and deliver it directly to you. Or at the same time, in order to expand our e-commerce strategy, we want to also expand our same-store growth. We can take someone who's receiving a gift and offer them the option to actually go to our store and pick it up for free. So that also drives same-store growth. So that's really what we want to focus on with our e-commerce strategy, and that addresses the need of not necessarily asking for someone to go ahead and give a gift, because there's 100 million people spread throughout the world who want to give them that gift. And again, we already know that e-commerce is such a growing industry around the world, and China is one of the main drivers with that. And in addition, we already have an established logistics team that's essential for developing a strong e-commerce strategy, with over 70% of our consumers on Tmall already approving of us.
Now, since 2009, Singles Day, November 11th, has become the single biggest online shopping day in mainland China. Now, what we want to do is generate that same excitement, except during the summer, our traditionally slower months. So beginning on June 6th,
Excuse me, can I interrupt and go back to the e-commerce strategy? You mentioned on, I guess, a page or two back, or the one with the little men on it, 70% of the consumers, the Tmall. What about developing our own website? What are your thoughts on, should we be driving traffic through Tmall or our own Chow Tai Fook? And how do you do that?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, if you look at multiple companies around the world who establish themselves as global leaders, they all have their own individual online store, and I think that's a huge opportunity for us to learn and develop. And although it wasn't one of our main focuses on our diamond strategy, of course that's something that needs to be considered when moving abroad, and it's definitely something that should be developed and harnessed in order to appeal to those hundreds of millions of people, not only abroad, but again to people here in Asia and around the world as well.
I think one thing, though, also to build on that is research actually has shown that utilizing these existing platforms is more ultimately cost-effective for the company. It actually generates a win-win, so that instead of spending money developing your own platform, use a platform that consumers are already coming to, but still ultimately accomplishing the same goal of selling your product.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wouldn't that be difficult if you're trying to have this whole experience online with the wedding albums and all that? Seems like a disconnect there.
So with that, though, it's one avenue. So obviously, as they're saying, it could be a two-pronged strategy. So develop one avenue of developing this wedding platform, but maybe some customers don't want to go to our site. So there's no need to segregate certain customers that want to traditionally continue to shop on Tmall. So it's actually approaching customers or coming to customers so we can always deliver no matter which avenue they want to come to. Okay. Yeah. So back to our summer strategy. Starting in June 6th, look, symbolizing luck. And then July 7th, Qi, symbolizing togetherness or family. We want to offer customers the opportunity to go on our website, download a QR code, then come into our stores. And when they come into our stores, we want them to purchase something. But the key is, when they purchase something, they're going to be entitled to a discount. However, they won't know what that discount is until they purchase. And they'll be entitled to anywhere from 10 all the way up to 100%. But then the key is for them to come to both months so that in August 8th, they can enjoy Shuangqi or Double Joy, which they'll be entitled to a minimum of a 20% discount all the way up to 100%. What this is really going to do is generate social media excitement that every day customers can look forward to this day that they can come to Chow Tai Fook and enjoy some great discounts.
And again, this lucky fortune strategy that we really developed, we're excited about it and think it's a great opportunity. But of course, when you think about that, it's, okay, what if our chances are actually losing money on this? We're offering discounts. However, as we see up here, there's only a 0.35% chance that we actually cut into our margins and lose money with this strategy.
Has a very interesting strategy, lucky fortune strategy. Do you know of anyone else who has tried it and it's been successful? I mean, I'd be kind of scared buying a big piece of jewelry not knowing whether I get a 1% discount or a 20% discount.
So one other thing, we actually raised kind of a similar question yesterday, and a kind of another avenue is the strategy for the day is not so as important as the day. We want to really generate a day just like Singles Day, November 11th, that customers look forward to every year, that customers can look forward to something new for us. And so whether that's building on the success of the existing Superman line, let's take that every single summer, there's a new hit summer movie. And everyone's wondering, which summer movie is CTF going to choose to be the summer movie that we make jewelry for, and generate social media buzz so that 2 or 3 months in advance, people are already watching that countdown clock and can tap into the loyalty market so that they perhaps have access to a signature edition. And really just generates excitement for this day that people associate with our brand.
So in addition to all this, building our online experience, building our e-commerce platform, the essential part of this as well is also building our in-store experience. So if we have our e-commerce platform and people are coming in to receive their gift for free, how do we actually enhance our in-store experience? Well, one of the things that we can do is we can have on-site certified, whether you're in mainland China, you can be CGS certified, or in Hong Kong, you can be GIA certified, and have someone in each store who actually can personally grade whatever it is you have. Whether you bought it from another store or from us, you can actually come in and feel confident that your gem is real, or if you bought it from someone else, we can be trusted to say, we want to let you know that this isn't real.
So another part of our diamond strategy is new products, and we wanted to capitalize on our collection market by building relationships with young families. So imagine this, a child is born, say, Year of the Dog. That child is given a charm with a dog on it, and every year after that, a new charm comes out, limited edition, exclusive, beautiful, and after 12 years, this child has a full set. They show us, we throw a gigantic party, a ceremony for all, yes?
Yeah. I think you talk about the new product, but I guess it might not be that new because in the market it's been happening year on year with a new sign. So how could you use this example as a strategy to improve sales and maybe to some extent loyalty to the brands?
Right. Well, the idea that I believe a lot of other companies are using is that they hand out these charms and then that's it. They kind of step away from the customer at that point. But for us, we want to keep the customer with us. So not only are we releasing these limited edition charms, but as I was saying, we're going to throw a huge party for all these zodiac children, ones who have lived through an entire zodiac cycle. We all know how important the child is in Chinese culture, especially now. So we invite friends, family, everyone into our store, expose them to our merchandise, have them buy them for the child, dote on the child. They get that delight, and then we get a loyal customer with increased customer lifetime value and a deeper relationship with that family.
So what's so
I guess I would love to see the financial analysis of it.
Oh, yes, we will get to that point.
So what's so great about our diamond strategy is it is exceptionally feasible to implement. So we start with enhancing our online presence with the introduction of QR codes and very fastly implementable things online. Then we're going to roll into our analytics integration and really develop those relationships with our customers. Then roll out our new products and collections and collaborations with e-commerce. And then we're going to transform the Perfect One marketing campaign into a truly integrated package for our customers, and then ultimately hosting that first video contest winner's wedding just for them. And of course, all of this is going to be constantly monitored and updated to maintain that our strategy is continually effective.
As far as our financials go, our main concern here is actually to keep our existing margins while at the same time rolling with the growth that our market gives us.
And we also need to identify the possible risks associated. As a jewelry company, we are more exposed into interest rate, credit risk, foreign currency risk, because of our heavy presence in gold and precious metals. We also need to think of the external environment. So what about the austerity measures in China? Will that affect us? What about, will the Hong Kong tax environment ever change? Even outside of that, like pop culture trends, we need to follow that. It's all something that we need to consider in developing a truly successful strategy.
So only by utilizing all of these can we accomplish what Ken Tuong said, which is to capture the hearts and minds of the Chinese people. In order to do this, we can't just step in and step out. We have to become a part of their daily lives. We have to hit upon their family and their daily experiences. That is what our diamond strategy aims for, and that is our hope for CTF. Thank you very much.
Can I jump in, and can you go back to the projected revenues page and explain to me, seems like a lot of work and for about $3 million honky, unless I'm not reading this correctly.
Yeah, our main point really for here was kind of to focus on percentages, and this slide got messed up a little bit, but we really want to, again, continue to maintain our existing margins and go with the growth that we've been provided in the industry.
On the page that is related to the vision for success, you have mentioned that you want to help us to maintain the position as a market leader, triple the loyalty program within 5 years, all these type of target. Can you summarize how the strategy that you just talked about can help us to achieve this?
Well, our strategy really focuses on Guanxi and creating relationships with our customers, which comes in with the develop enhanced customer profiles as well as the loyalty program. That is our main focus, and that is how we're going to maintain being the top leader, because we want to differentiate ourselves from the other mass luxury jewelry markets. That's why we can maintain this annual growth and margins at 30%, because the environment's changing. So we really want to capitalize on those changings while creating an invaluable relationship with our customers that can continue out throughout the years.
Okay, may I, very interesting, say, maintain 40% annual growth. So what is the driver, to drive the 40% growth per year?
So what we really think is the huge driver is really the tier 3, tier 4 cities. Obviously, you have extensive experience within the tier 1, tier 2 cities, and also here in Hong Kong. But as tier 3 and tier 4 cities have more and more disposable income, we really think there's still a huge opportunity to capture these customers, specifically in the medium that they're choosing, which is online. And seeing those customers, we still think there's an opportunity for this sustained growth going forward.
However, T3 and 4 city disposable income are much less than T1, 2. How can that T3 and 4 can contribute much higher proportion than T1, 2? They have different income. Still an income gap in between T1, 2 and T3, 4.
So
It doesn't make sense. It seems to be how you can support the data.
So with that though, it's saying that that's going to be in terms of percentage growth wise, is going to be the growth. But you're talking about overall strategy. We still think there is opportunities within tier 1, tier cities. As CTF is expanding with these new stores, we think it's going to work together in harmony, that you have an opportunity to go to new markets, but also there's still this huge underutilized market of the overseas Chinese who want to come back and show that I've made it, I've been successful. And approaching those consumers coming back, we still think it will allow for this sustained growth as well.
How do you see the growth, which is the driver? In terms of volume and in terms of ASP, which part would be contribute the most?
So in terms of growth percentage, would be the tier 3, tier 4, but in terms of physically the number would be these overseas Chinese coming back, looking for an opportunity to show that they've been successful and to sort of showcase, whether it's the Zodiac, whether it's the wedding, that they can share that experience with their families and friends.
Okay, you are recommending CTF to remain focused on the mass luxury, then why can't Charter Oak be number one in all segments?
I'm sorry, could you please repeat your
So
question?
you're recommending us to remain focused on the mass luxury segment, right? Okay. Why can't we be number one in all other segments? High-end jewelry, young.
Well, obviously, we want to be successful in each individual segment, and we know that roughly each segment represents, I want to say, about 30% of sales. I'm not 100% sure if I'm saying that correctly, but again, we can. Our main strategy here is we want to drive our growth and our sales through our trust and our managing of these relationships. And again, this incorporates through all price points, through the entire mass luxury line. So realistically, whether you're on the lower end or the higher end of that, we want CTF to be the most trusted name within mainland China and also abroad and in Hong Kong as well. And that's really our key driver here, is we want to be trusted more than Tiffany. You know, you might say, yeah, Tiffany obviously is on the higher end of things, and that's their key strategy. But at the same time, if I'm a high-end consumer, I want to be able to say, yeah, sure, Tiffany has a nice jewel, but so does CTF. But I actually like them more. I feel like they're part of my home. You know, I have a guanxi with them. They're part of my job. So I want to be with them, and that's who I want to buy from. We want to be the brand that you want to buy from.
Thank you, Team 2.
Billy, shall we take a 20-minute break before continuing on?
Sure. Refreshments will be provided in Ballroom 3. Please enjoy.